When I tell y'all this was the hardest movie to sit through that I've seen in a very, very long time. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, #MovieBay. I am MovieBay, and in this video, I'm going to be doing a review over Krystin Ver Landin's movie entitled Alice. This is starring Keke Palmer and Common. Now, before I get too into it though, go ahead, drop down, hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Because here on MovieBay, I do reviews, reactions, and commentary to movies and television. And if that's the type of content that you find yourself looking for on YouTube, you might as well hit the subscribe button. Makes sense to me. Alright, now let's get into this review. When I tell y'all this is one of the hardest movies that I have ever had to sit through in a very, very long time, I am not capping. Like, no boost, no exaggeration. I legit mean it. It was so hard watching this movie. I kept pausing it, walking my dog, coming back, pausing it. I'm hungry. Let's get something to eat. Coming back. Like, it was so hard to finish this movie. But before I get into what I didn't like, let's talk about what I did like. Well, this movie is about a girl named Alice. Now, Alice yearns for freedom as an enslaved woman under the iron rule of the brutal owner of rural Georgia plantation. After a violent clash, she flees through the neighboring woods and stumbles onto the unfamiliar sight of a highway, soon discovering that the year is actually 1973. Rescued on the roadside by a disillusioned political activist, Alice quickly comprehends the lies that have kept her in bondage. And that's the synopsis on IMDb. I did not write that, I promise. That was the synopsis. This movie is about a girl who is enslaved, and she escapes, and she finds out, oh, we's free now. Okay. Now, what I liked about this movie is the fact that it is a historical piece. So this movie is based off of true events that people were still enslaved. African Americans were still enslaved up into the 1970s. And I think they kind of hinted to there might still be some people enslaved today, unbeknownst to them, that black people were free. You know, we got rights. There's been a whole black president. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that it's based on true events because I didn't know. I didn't know these things. And I always like learning new things. Like, who doesn't? Alright, so that's my first pro. Now, my next pro, something that I did like about this film, is that it did have some decent talking points. Talking points such as black people treating immigrants similar to how white people used to treat us. Not really close, but no cigar. But you understand. It's like, so now that you have your own, you're treating people who are not black, you know, like they are less than, accusing them of things before actually trying to find out, things like that. Another good talking point was the fact that we people are still, quote unquote, enslaved by working a 9-to-5. That came from Common and his brother, how his brother was kind of treating him less than as well. And another talking point was the fact that black people are no longer fighting for the cause after the civil rights movement, especially when our heroes, our leaders were assassinated. So I felt like all of those were good talking points. And you know what? I feel like they were hinted at or talked about a reasonable amount of time for this particular film. Another thing that I liked was Keke Palmer looked bomb as fuck. I personally, not a big Keke Palmer fan. Obviously, she's beautiful. I can't. Acquired personalities. But she looked gorgeous, melanin popping, just body banging, like just gorge. And then my very last pro for this movie is that the acting was okay. I personally feel like the actors were trying so hard to breathe life into the script because, my God, it was horrible. And in turn, it made the acting like, what, is this everybody's first movie? Is this everybody's first movie? So this kind of goes into my cons. Y'all ready? Here we go. All right, so let's get into the cons. So just like I left off at the pros, where the actors were trying their damnedest to do something with this script, it just goes right into the cons, that the acting was fucking horrible. Keke Palmer, what's his name? Common, though. Like, Keke tried. She had some good moments, some dramatic facial expressions. But Common, though, Common acted like, okay, so we all know Common is no Denzel Washington. We know these things. But Common is good for Common. In this movie, Common went right back to, like, just right. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just like, my guy, have you not had a couple of movies under your belt? Like, have you not? Like, what's going on? So, I don't want to put it all on the actors, because you can only do so much with a trash piece of writing. Let's talk about it. Krystin Ver Landin is the writer and director of this movie, Alice. Now, y'all know me. I'm about to get into the script. First and foremost, okay, I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, so the script. At the beginning, when they're on the plantation, it takes so long to get started. Okay, first off. Then we get this like sci-fi, haunting, creepy old white lady time travel hint plot. And then when you keep watching, it's like that had little to nothing to do with what the movie ended up being. So it was just kind of like she wanted this movie to be too many things at once. There was a lot of dumb writing, like mistakes. So like when, I don't even remember, Keke Palmer's husband, he goes to fight for a gun so they can escape, but then he leaves the fight without a gun and ends up getting shot by the gun. It's like, well, what was the point of them tussling over the gun if he purposely leaves the gun? Like, can we make it make sense, please? After Keke Palmer leaves the plantation and she starts, you know, oh my God, 1970s, zippers. Are you really? You don't know what a zipper is? Why are you so enamored by a damn zipper? Zippers were definitely invented in the 1800s. In denim, by the way. So the fact that she was so amazed by clothes, okay? What the fuck? It was just like inaccurate. Like, bruh, they had zippers. She know what a zipper looked like. She had a husband, okay? His pants had zippers, I'm sure. So I was just like, no, this fish out of water is not working for me. It's not working for me. So another thing with this script was, aside from like inaccuracies, it was a lot of unauthentic parts of this movie. So like, it was just like, okay, so we know it's like the fish out of water thing. She goes back to Common's house and he fixes, first off, your cold closet. Okay, all right, okay, sure. I don't know what the hell they were calling it. Cold closet. Sure, got it. He fixed her a bologna sandwich with mustard, and while he's flipping through channels every so often of the television without, it's like the dialogue didn't match up with what he was doing, and it was just like, it just seemed forced. Like, oh, this news thing is showing too. Oh, Pam Grier is on the TV too. Oh, switch to Stanford and Son. It's like they were just trying to fit all the 70s, big 70s hitters in like the fucking, I mean, damn, like in that one scene. It just wasn't authentic at all. Something else that wasn't authentic was that they had a build up to her revenge, right? So she's free now, or she knows she's free now. She's exposed to black culture. I'm gonna get to that later. And then now she wants to go back on the plantation and free, you know, everybody she grew up with, her family, right? So, that we hardly know. Anyhow, so she's like, I want my revenge, but first, we're gonna need more books. What the fuck do you need books for? Are you gonna throw them at the plantation owner? Like, what do you need these books for? What do you need books for? And then when they leave the library, what do they go do? They go to the movies. I thought we were supposed to be plotting, planning, and going to the plantation. Like, why the fuck are we on a book run? Why are we on a date? They went to the library and to the movies. Why are we on a date right now? We are supposed to be plotting our revenge, okay? And then he goes to take her to see Coffee and then tells her, oh, we shouldn't go free the slaves? Why would you get her amped up and pumped up by watching this beautiful black woman enact revenge? Like, why would you do that? It just made no sense. It was unneeded. I feel like that part of the movie, going to the library, watching blaxploitation films, all of that should have been a part of the exposing to the culture, you know, the black culture. Not like, okay, I'll get into it later. I'm gonna get into it later. I don't wanna spoil the end of my movie. Something else, speaking of the end of the movies, why the fuck is her husband still alive? Why did her husband come limping in at the very end of the movie, still alive? So it kind of made her little revenge pointless. Cause I thought she was like so mad that they killed her husband and she's just sick of this shit. But nope. Oh wait, he's alive. Oh well, I guess we're good now. Like what the hell? When I tell you this movie made me so like annoyed, cause one, I was bored, but then at the end you gonna make the husband alive anyways? So all of this was just bullshit. Okay, like, no, I cannot. So my very last con of this movie is going to be about the runtime. This movie was so long and drawn out, it legit could have been a short film. Like, we could have had little scuffle on the plantation, she gets away, boom. Oh no, it's the 1970s? Cool. Exposure. I want my revenge. This movie could have been done in 10 to 12 minutes. Tops. This did not need to be a feature film because I felt like not shit happened. And it was very boring. Like, I've literally sat through low independent films that were very much so trash, and I kept watching because I was like, man, this movie is so bad, I have to see how it ends. Like, how are they going to finish this movie off? But this movie, it was just bad, and I didn't care if it ended or not. I just really wanted to do a review because I was like, I'm upset. I'm upset that this wasted 2 hours of my time. So, before I give y'all how I would have redone this movie, I'm going to tell y'all my rating. Out of 5 stars, I will kindly and politely give this movie a 1. And it's a 1 because of the concept and the knowledge that it bestowed upon me. I might give it a 0.5 because they kept recycling and reusing the same Jet and Rolling Stone magazines over and over again for like the 70s era. So appreciation of the 70s era and the concept, you get a 1.5. Miss Krystin. But no, this movie was very much so horrible. Alright, so I'm going to tell y'all how I would have rewritten this movie. So, boom. We meet the slaves, whoopty whoop, introduced to the mistreatment, and oh no, the husband dies as he's trying to escape. Great. So she gets caught and she's punished, but she escapes again. Boom. That's the first 15 to 20 minutes max, okay? Because you got to get the movie running. You got to keep your audience interested, all right? So, boom. She runs out, meets Common. Hospital scene can happen, but it needs to be way shorter. And don't hint to the insane asylum shit because they never revisit that. I mean, I guess we could make the assumption that it was Common's mom, but nobody solidified it. Don't really give a fuck. All right, so, boom. He takes her back to the crib, puts her up on game in an authentic manner. So they say that he was like a political activist, but all they did was show pictures of that shit. No, how about the whole movie? Not the whole movie, but a majority of the movie is spent with him putting her up on game, like inspiring her on some like Black Panther shit. Like she gets inspired and exposed to the black culture. That's what the big bulk of this movie should have been instead of montages. Fuck all that shit. So boom. Finally, after being exposed to the black culture and the activism and shit like that, she finally works up the nerve to get her revenge. Boom. She calls the little owner or whatever. We could keep that scene. That's fine. Goes to the diner, slaps the shit out of her. Who the fuck cares? Then goes back to the farm to free the other slaves. But oh no, they don't believe her. Girl, you crazy. Then she burns that bitch to the ground. Boom. End movie. Do y'all like my movie better? I hope you do. So, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and leave it down in the comments. Is my movie better? I'm pretty sure it is. What did you think about this movie? Was it dreadful to you? As dreadful to you as it was to me? Because when I tell y'all I was tortured, I definitely was. But with all that being said, I'll see you next time. It's a date.